Hello and welcome to the Elevate Show. Like every single Wednesday, today's show is no exceptional because it's life-changing, it's transformational, it's aspirational. And of course, alongside me every single Wednesday is the one, the only Benjamin Zulu.
Thank you.
And Zulu, on today's show, we are looking at life in a way probably sometimes, if you're lucky enough, you look at it that way, but if you're not, then you won't. And as we grow up, there are many forces that shape who we are, who we become. There are cultures, families, the media is not left behind. We have traumas that we're growing up with. There's a lot of noise. But then when you get to a point where you're lucky enough to hear and listen and question and be like, am I listening to what the world is screaming at me to be? How I should look at life, how I need to show up, the things that I need and want, are they coming from within me or are they coming from what has been fed to me? So today's conversation is about that, stripping away the masks and really, really looking at who you are and asking those questions. If you're lucky enough, and I'm very happy for the young people who are here because it's a good age to start asking those questions if you haven't.
True.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we are talking about this because I've often sometimes told people, when you finish your life, your greatest sin, that's what I discovered. Your greatest sin will be, I never knew I was me.
Okay.
Your greatest regret will be how much time you spent doing things, being someone, showing up in society, expending your energy in things that were not you because you did not know you were you.
Yeah.
All right? When you are born, you're just given an identity, gender, ID, some funny things that are just cultural and environmental. But as to your personal uniqueness and what you bring to this world that has no replica, nobody told you about that.
No.
The average person has not even used an instrument of self-identification. The average person has not done a personality test. The average person has not studied themselves as an entity. We think because we feel, therefore we know ourselves. If I have pain, I know I have pain. I know at least I know the goals I have. When you ask people who are you, they'll tell you their career, they'll tell you their gender, they'll tell you their family.
I'm a third born.
You know, people cannot tell you what they are, what makes them different from everybody else in the world.
Yeah.
Most people cannot articulate that. So what happens? The monster of Africa in particular is family pain, neglect, breaking families, traditions that are just suppressive to children, polygamy, alcoholism, wife battering, family trauma that is entrenched in culture.
Yeah.
That when men grow up, they go on drinking.
Yeah.
When men grow up, they get many women. And women are silenced. So we have a lot of trauma we grow up with, and then it is heaped on us. So we become people pleasers because we had to win attention of our dads by performing in school, by over-functioning, by winning that. Unless you perform in school, he won't be proud of you. Unless you bring good grades, mom can't even look at you. Unless you're performing and making them proud and appearing in church, reciting many verses so that they can be proud, my child is bright. There was no reason for attention at all. So you come out of this, out here, still performing for attention. And if I tell you, Mikali, sit there, I like you as you are, that feels fraud. That's fake. That's fake.
Yeah.
I know. Tell me your real motives.
Yeah.
I'm used to earning love. I don't believe in free love.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Mikali believes she must bootlick, cook this, clean that, do things to earn attention. The moment anybody tries to love you in a sincere way, you repel it. Because in your programming, you had to perform to get attention.
Yes.
That's most of us. The other group is coming from a place where love is just a foreign concept. They just know infatuations and biological responses to attraction. They don't know about love. And most of us, what we call compatibility is just infatuation. What we say, we are compatible with that person because chemistry is very powerful. Most of this chemistry is trauma bond. They resemble the dad you never had. She reenacts the mother you never had. This person brings back to your conscience the yearning mom you wanted to see you. That's why you see young men going for older women, because the older woman is a fetish for the mother he never had. Yeah. And these girls going for this because the man looks as stable as the father I wished to be stable in my life and consistent in my life. The moment you validate her the way a daddy should validate, she falls for you. Calls it love, but it's a transference of her father hunger. We don't have language for healing from false identities. Yeah. The moment we psychologists tell us we should heal, you're saying, I'm not sick. Nobody is perfect. You know, I'm making it like like everyone else. One day at a time. Nalia nikienda kama ambulance. You know we have to survive. We can't cry. The past is past. I'm forgetting the childhood. I'm just forging forward. That's the attitude of Kenyans. That's the attitude of Africans. That I'm just forging forward, forging forward. Your life is happening with a finality. And did you know the decade of 20s is unique in that it's the last stage of crossing from childhood to adulthood. When you are just early 20s, people say you're a young person and they make excuses for your mistakes. They assist you when you come as an intern in the company. You're giving out people to help you. Your mistakes are excused. The moment you reach that is, you're a grown-up, you should know what you're doing. You make a mistake, you pay for it. You'll be deducted from your salary. You'll be punished. You'll be chased out of here. 20s is the last time to negotiate who you are. But what are our young people doing? They're extending 19. You meet a 27-year-old man who is still living 19, extended adolescence. Enjoy life that when you grow old, you don't don't regret it, You regress. If you don't sleep with these women, you live to miss it, if you don't these things, it will come back to you, You should do this. So we ruin our lives instead of establishing foundations. Nobody told us that some things in life don't have a second chance. They just come once and they're gone. Yes. So what if we can help people know that most of what you're putting out as you, it's not you. It's the father you never had. It's the love you never had. Or you're the stable family that also deceived you into thinking the world is safe. So you came out here with a lot of belief and trusting naively because your parents were safe and loving and present. Sometimes a consistent, stable parent who does not teach you the harshness of the world can also disorient you. You come out here trusting, thinking people are just fundamentally good because your parents were fundamentally good. Your family was fundamentally present. Particularly the small, closely knit families where resources were not there for scarce. Parents were earning just little money enough, but it was enough. The kids were only 2, they were only 3. There was always school fees. They could always get your shoes. The big families were ready to clamor for basic resources. So Mwikali may not understand where the serving was a nursery school setting. No. The serving of food, mealtime is like a school setting. And you are there watching which one has more food. And the moment it is run, you click and you run. Mwikali may not relate with that. Because most of the basic, being fewer children, there were material realities, material provision. But what about the emotional provision? Many of our parents married us because they had to. They got pregnant. They got too old. Something a parent and discussed with the other parent that your children are better getting married. It was an arranged thing. It was a thing. Many of them never felt loved and they live with that craving and they have no name for it. So they punished you anytime you required validation. They rejected anytime you wanted confirmation. So we have so much wounding and lack of healing. And if you want to confirm what I'm saying, watch next time you're on the road. People are angry. People driving cars are angry. Rage out of nothing. A small thing happens and they're cursing. This rage. People are angry. Why are we so upset? Why are we so unsettled? Because we have a lot of unresolved issues. People who are calm and who have made peace in their lives, they generally avoid annoyances that are unnecessary. They'll give you the way. When I was young, I noticed that the guys who drove big cars had courtesy. All right? The guys with Range Rovers and V8s and Prados, they give way from far away when you're crossing the pedestrian. They stand far away. I liked that. They did not push. The guy with the Pro Box, the border guy. You better watch out. So I wanted to know, what is it? Did the car make them be... Is the car very expensive that if he makes a small mistake, it will cost him a lower? I tried to reason what was it. What is it? They stand very far away. They don't push you. Sometimes you're not even insisting, but they just give... I'm wondering, this guy is driving a 20 million machine. His career and his time is more expensive. Where per minute, per hour, he's earning more. And yet he has courtesy. What changed? That was one of the things I clicked. And I said, I must study that society. I came to realize it's not the car that makes him. It's him who makes the car. He bought that car because he's a man of honor. Because he's a woman of honor. And people of honor have no petty fights. They even sympathize with your situation. These are empathetic humans. You are crossing the road. You are more vulnerable. You are more scared. If a crash was to happen, your life is more at risk than his. So he doesn't want to give you the panic attack of coming to do emergency braking. They're like, these guys are... Another thing, many guys driving small cars are not their cars. They're just employed. They don't have any car. It's just a guy like you. So that's why they have a point to prove. Many of them. And then many of them are also, they don't have the empathy. I came to understand, Mwikali, when those people have healed and attained those heights of society and that self-actualization, one thing they did is to reconcile with their past so that they're not at war and try to fight everyone. They're not at war. They have no rage. They're more at peace. Mwikali, what we're discussing today is to invite you to maneuver back to peace. Maneuver back to who you are. When I hear a person telling me they're marrying a person from a different faith, I tell them, no, it's not a marriage from a person of different faith. It's because you don't know who you are. And you know the funny thing with marriage? Marriage and photography have one thing in common. They freeze that phase of your life. so that you stay like that.
Yeah.
When you marry, when you don't know who you are, that marriage will always remain there. You try to outgrow it, either divorce or you remain where you are. Very rare do you find a person who evolves with you to a very different life. True or false?
Yeah.
They know who you are, quiet, yes guy, who did not have a lot of... Now you have a no, you have boundaries, you have a direction, you have expectation, you are clear, you want peace. Who are you? This is not who I married. You know, they'll quarrel and refuse it. You met while clubbing, doing this, easy going. You may stop the alcohol itself, but that freestyle energy still remains there. Suddenly you say, I'm a father. I want to show my son safe spaces. I'm a father now. I want to lead my daughter in places. I want to... You begin to transform. They're wondering, this is not who I married. I want this pretense. This no, I want... Why they freeze where you are? Mikali, if you marry, and I used to tell them, remember right now you think faith is a small thing. You think religion is a small thing. Faith and your core beliefs, they form who you are. Society doesn't know that. Who you are comes from your core beliefs. The moment you say, I'm a Catholic, that definition, that one, and then you get an SDA here who also believes that SDA.
Yes.
I'm just picking two Christian investments to show you how different faith can be.
Okay.
Forget Muslim, Christian, or this Hindu, the other one. Even within the same faith, religion, you can have so different definitions of who you are and how you view the world. What Saturday means to you, what Sabbath means to you, how you think you're obeying your God, how you think your life is adding up, how you handle money, what you teach children, how you treat other people, what matters in life, what you put first, how you keep your promise, your conscience, your values, how you are empathetic, how you are understanding, how you treat illness and difficulties. Do you run to Muganga? Do you supplement the Muganga saying it's an African traditional herbalist thing and it's compatible with your church? There's no problem with it. This other person here believes in exorcism and they're coming with anointing oil. You can fight over what you believe about problems and solutions and diseases. When you know who you are, you begin to negotiate with people who are not. You stop negotiating with people who are not like you. You appreciate who they are, but you don't sign up knowing it will be a constant conflict. So, Mikali, many of us marry because before we know who we are, and that marriage keeps us misaligned, feeling misplaced.
That's true.
There's a show I did, I was telling people the advantage of marrying in your 30s. Particularly women 35, because society has been telling them like, that's late. And I was telling them, if you are intentional and you took that time because you are looking for yourself, congratulations. You have married for the right reason finally. Not because of pressure. I had to. Everybody was getting married. I had to. My parents, I had to. I had to. You are marrying because I get to. When many people are marrying, their that is are married because I've chosen to. Your aunties have given up. Their prayers didn't work. They wanted to. People have stopped
Their
pressuring.
hookups didn't work either.
People have stopped pressuring you. And they moved on. They stopped telling you about your junior is already married. Your younger ones they stopped reminding you they want grandchildren. The grandma telling you, I'm dying, bring your grandchild. Garen, you want to die? It's okay. There's a point to die. So they stopped, and they went through that journey where people keep giving you timeline, because you are younger ones, because you are because this. I mean, I'm looking for myself. I'm saying I still feel lost a little bit in the world. I still want to find who I am. We can validate people and tell them whatever price you're going to pay to find what your life is about, to find the goals that you believe. The worst age to get married or even start dating is 18 to 24, because that time your brain has not matured and your world is evolving very rapidly. Your beliefs and your dreams and your goals and your self-esteem are fluid. They're changing so rapidly. You only belong to groups. You belong to college. You belong to a family. You belong to a church. You don't have an individuality. I tell them, although society wants to rush, especially girls before they're 25, because that time they are a yes person. They can be manipulated 1,000 shillings. These people don't have a name, don't have a fame, don't have a frame. They don't know who they are. And if you carry her in your Mercedes, she has already bought in. One day she doesn't know she'll have her own Mercedes. She doesn't even know that one day this money will be nothing. So they rush to you before you know who you are. They get a child with you to commit you. They live with you to commit you. They marry you to commit you. That time you look innocent. In this show, I've told girls, telling them from the face, you are under 25. Because I can see it. And I tell them, do an honor to yourself. The way you're coming to these shows to grow, to evolve, give yourself the time. There are seasons of life. And if you can just take the time and shut out the noise. Society wants you to get married by a certain age, get a child by a certain age, get a second child by a certain age, get a third child by a certain age. They will never be satisfied. So don't do anything. Don't join the rat race. that there's under pressure because you cannot satisfy that rat race. Why don't you buy a car? You buy a car. Now this is an old one. Why don't you buy a bigger one? But you only have one car. What's wrong with you? We thought you'll be bigger than that. You never satisfy society.
Yeah.
Anything you do, they'll find out. Oh, so you only have 2 boys, so you can't manage a girl, my friend. Why can't you get a girl? You prove it. Oh, you don't have a boy. Who will take up your name? Why can't you get a boy? Society can't be satisfied. Today we are here to validate you. If you are taking that journey to look for yourself, and Mikali, the funny thing, looking for yourself, you've never met yourself before. So you're looking for someone you've never met.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
You've never been who you're looking for.
Yeah.
So you can't quite give me details of how you know when you find it. You're just telling me, I'll know it when I find it. I will feel settled when I find a career that belongs to me. Yeah. You can be flourishing in shows, but there's a disturbance in you. Your producer is happy, your employer is happy, everybody is happy, your family is happy, finally our girl is a celeb. But there's a disturbance. You're saying, yes, sure, but something else. Yes, that, but. Yes, but. If there's a yes, but that you're saying, it may change my life so much. If I commit to a man now, it will seem like a lie. If I finally find who I am. Yeah. Take your time and don't stop. Many of us usually know we have not arrived, but then we stop moving. Keep exploring. Today I want to give you the validation that you can come from lost to found by yourself. Absolutely. You can come from belonging out there, defining yourself with roles and positions, until you can say, I am this is who I am. You know, Mikali, you found yourself when you can just define yourself with traits, not roles. Yeah. Traits. Yeah. You can just make consistent things about Mikali. What you should know, Mikali is empathetic. Mikali is understanding. Mikali is patient. Mikali is self-confident. I do try my things, make my mistakes, and learn my lessons. I keep my word. When I say something, I want to stay true to that word. So I reduce my promises because I mean something. I don't talk much because everything I say means something. Mikali can describe to me who she is consistently in every context. Say, this lady knows herself. If you don't know yourself, tell me, you don't know me now. You mean you have not watched that show, eh? So how can you know? You should know people, eh? You should know people. You should ask around, eh? That is the persona. That's not you. You should be able to tell me, in that terms of context, family, I am a daughter, I have friends there, my social life. My personal life, I have my own personal evolution. I'm healing. I'm forming who I am, adopting new traits. I'm working on my, vibrancy, articulate. I have my own growth journey, but I know where I am and the direction I'm going. In terms of profession, this is where I am. This is what I do. You are not your career. You do your career. I do show hosting. I'm not just a show host. I'm more than that. But I do it, and I do also other things. Yeah. That's how I know you have arrived to who you are. You're not defined by roles.
Absolutely. Let's give him a round of applause. So today we are reclaiming that inner voice. And the topic today is reclaiming identity in a society that tells you who to be. And we have the perfect guest for this conversation. Perfect. When I say perfect, well, she'll be here. You'll hear the story. Definitely. She is a transformational coach. She's an author as well. I don't know if we're going to call her a musician anymore because I may decide to Taskia Mawimbo. So I don't know what's happening in that sphere. We'll find out more about that. But ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Kush Tracy. Welcome back to the Elevate Show. And like the conversation we just had today, we are looking at, do you know who you really are? Or are you living a life being fed from everything around you, the noise around you, the culture around you? Have you come to self? Have you started the journey of finding who you really are within? And that's the conversation. Just before the break, I told you, guest wa leo ni wa kutuambia hiyo story vizuri, kinaga ubaga. And I love the fact that she doesn't hold back. This feels like a reunion. Like I said, she's a transformational coach. She's an author. She said we're on a commercial break with the singing. She runs a foundation. She's a content creator. Kush Tracy jameni, nini haufanyi? Oh, yeah.
Doing everything, trying to run away from sin. But thank you so much. I'm so honored to be on the show today. Now wananga tu uko kwa mtandao, so I'm happy to be here.
Karibu sana. Yeah. Karibu sana. And when I say it's a reunion, really it is a reunion. Only the last time we sat together like this,
I know.
We were on different sides of the world. We are on a different side right now.
Yeah.
But when we talk about, and you being a transformer, there's a lot that has happened since we sat together on a show.
Yeah.
A lot has changed. And that is what we're talking about today, because you are very, what is it called? I don't want to say loud, but loud is also like you can just,
bold.
Bold in telling your story, where you've been, because you've, I think since you were what, like maybe
18, 19, yeah,
you've
18.
lived kwa macho zetu. We've seen you grow, we've seen you do music, we've seen you do life. We've seen you go up, down, come back up, be confused. And even when you started the transformation, guys were like,
yeah, a lot of
ngoje uone.
confusion.
Si alishaifanya hii kitu tena, ngoje uone, anaanguka tu. But
Yeah.
then a couple of years in now, and you're a
Yeah.
transformational coach.
Yeah.
Turudi nyuma kidogo. Nikurudishe.
Okay, ni sawa tu turudi.
Turudi. When we started the show today, we talked about how there are forces around us that influence who we become. And I wonder what those voices were for you to choose the path that you chose. And you lived that for quite a bit before the transformation happened. So what were those voices? What was the need then to become that person that later you're like, I wasn't authentic to self, and now I am? Yeah.
I think I loved what Benjamin was saying in terms of when it comes to our faith, it plays a very big part.
Yeah.
So I grew up Catholic, and I only knew I'm a Christian by saying, because we used to go to church and all of that, but I didn't have a vertical relationship with Christ, right? So I only knew God is good because that is what I've had. Like, I never really tried to figure out who this God is, what he's about. Does he have standards? Like, what are the rules when it comes to his kingdom? But I knew there's a kingdom of God. Yes. But then again, I did know there's a lot of evil in the world, because when you look at everything that happens in the world, there's good and there's evil. There's what we don't like, what we don't agree to, what we resent, what we despise and we hate. Even when we don't know it. Sometimes you might get triggered and it'll be like, when you're not thinking, and you don't even realize, like, innately, we literally know this is wrong. Yes. So I knew some of the things I was doing, like being promiscuous, I knew it was wrong, but I loved it. It was fun. I loved being reckless, and I've said this a lot of times. So when young people are like, so how did you stop? I'm like, let me tell you, it's one thing to want to stop. It's another thing to actually stop especially when you've experienced it and you love it. Yeah. You love that lifestyle. Yeah. No one gets to tell you what to do. You know, it's your body, right? Yeah. I get to dress it the way I want to dress it. Yes. I get to sleep with whoever I want to sleep with. Like, and you see, the mindset which I had also came from a place of what I was feeding myself, what I was listening to, the music, the role models that I had. Everything they modeled was the wrong thing. But then again, my appetite was so into the world that I loved it. Yeah. And I agreed to it, and I endorsed it, and I lived it. Because at the end of the day, we literally live out what we believe. And that's why I loved what you said. It's good to wait until you're past your 30s when you figure out who you are. Because at the end of the, if I got married at early, maybe in my early 20s, I'm very sure ningekuwa sahi niko na divorce fulani, but ningekuwa nakuja hapa nikisema, you know, I got married too, because I would have married my appetite, what fit into what I was. So I'm so glad, even at 31, I'm not married yet. But when it happens, like you said, I get to choose it. It's not circumstance. No. It's not pressure. It's not by force. I feel like I'm late in life and all of that. Actually, I'm so proud of myself that now I get to choose what I need. Not from a place of, oh, you're late. Oh, pressure. Oh, masakos. Watu waliingia wakatoka. Tunamuonea huku nje. So there's nothing you're missing out. And I love what you say. We need to stop running. People are running. You're just running to a ditch without thinking about where you're going. And I think it's very important for young people to get to a place where they become so intentional with the direction they're taking rather than the speed that they're going with. It's very important.
I think that's profound. Because we're just focused on, it's a rat race. Literally. It is a rat race. Where yo Maggie, someone, anyone.
It's a lot.
Absolutely. And you did the race. You did it. You did it well.
And I loved it. That's why I need people to understand this. I loved it. Because I did not have to answer to anyone. I could be reckless, and it was within my rights. Because you see, at the end of the day, I've been given a free will to choose what I get to do with it. So I loved I loved being reckless. It was fun when you don't have to be accountable to nobody. You know what I'm saying? But this is why I say faith for me played a very big role. A very big role. And the time I got COVID, it's the first time I got to read the New Testament. I had never read the Bible, but I always had a Bible, right? But I never literally opened it to read it intentionally. So the first time I got COVID and I was not on TV for like 1.5 months, that's the very first time I started reading the Bible. So by the time I read Matthew to Revelation, I was like, there's so much, like I could see myself, I could see my folly, I could see my mistakes, I could see again a glimpse of what my future could look like, but I could not really like see it clearly. It wasn't as clear.
Yeah.
So you see this thing, you feel there's a conviction that speaks from a place of there's a promise, there's hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
But in the space you're in, it's so hard for you to believe it because you're not seeing the immediate results that you want, right? Because we are people who like immediate gratification,
Yes.
right? We want it now, man.
Now.
I want it to feel good. You know, that's why we
Yeah.
like doing the wrong things because it feels good in the moment. And that's what I wanted. That's why I got saved. And then within like 4 months, I went back into the world.
Yeah.
Because I was like, no, it's not coming the way I need it to
But
come.
what was happening
and it's
there?
not feeling
Because
good.
I don't think when you talk
Yeah.
about how this transformation was not pap, it wasn't niliamka siku moja, there was thunder, lightning.
Yeah, I don't have the day story. You know, there are people always ask me, actually, what happened on that day?
you
I'm
know.
like, let me tell you, I don't have like an eat day.
Yeah,
there is
it
no
wasn't.
eat day in my story.
Yeah.
It's not there.
Because
Yeah.
you the first time I think we interacted was way back when you were doing Dandia.
Yes.
And you had come up, you'd taken over the music industry as a female, countering a man who'd done a song that was demeaning women. And you were like, you will not demean women in my watch.
But
and
then,
you did that.
This is what I say. My intention was the right, on the right, I had like the right intention, but it was the wrong way. Because you see what I was saying was I was counter-attacking what these men were saying concerning women, but then I was coming from a place of, we run things. So you're not the ones who are going to chipo us, sisi ndo tunawafunga.
Yes.
You're not the ones who are going to use us, but you're going to use you.
Yeah.
You get?
Yeah.
So my intention was right, and this is what people need to understand. The intention can be right, but the means doesn't justify necessarily the end. So my heart was at the right place, but it was misdirected. It was misguided. So I was like, no, tunapigania wanawake. But then again, I was telling women, let's become as promiscuous as we can be, as we're fighting against these men. You get what I'm saying? Oh, they want to smash around. Oh, as we do it better. Come on, and you'll never know. You see? So at the end of the day, the intention was to empower women. But then again, it was the wrong way. The message I was sending it out, it was in the wrong way. Right? Because it could be destructive. It could lead to someone getting killed somewhere, right? Because of that greed of looking, you know, you want money from a man, you're trying to get, you know, a man to sponsor your life, you have to compromise. There's so many things which could have gone wrong, but I wasn't looking at that. I was like, right now, what works? They have said this, I'm going to say this. And of course, you know, social media, just make sure you have attention, you'll be trending, you're good to go, right? You're relevant. So that was where my mindset was at. I wasn't forward thinking. So
we're happy you're here, you know, with all of that information. When it comes to a point where you need to shift and it's a push that is beyond you, where you're like, I don't want this anymore, I am tired. And Zulu keeps saying this thing, we do not change because that is because you're tired. It comes from a place of pain. I cannot be here anymore. I need something to change. How was that journey for you? Because your friends, I don't know if you had any gospel friends. I don't know kama watu wa injili sijui kama walikuwa kwa circles zako. How was that journey for you? Was it lonely? Was it because we couldn't hang out anymore?
I know.
Tulikatiwa off. But you know, there's so many things that had to happen. You had to walk away from all of that. How was that for you?
It wasn't easy, and this is what I want people to understand. Anytime you choose to walk a different path, to turn around and just, you know, flip the script and start something new, it's always going to get lonely. You'll feel isolated. Because one, you're trying to figure out yourself outside of what you've known, what has been normal to you. But then again, it's going to take time, and then you'll be misunderstood by a lot of people because number one, they don't understand your journey, they don't understand the innate desire that you have to become a better person, and they don't understand the sacrifice that you must make. So you're going to lose some friends. But I always say this, anyone who was meant to be in your life, if you lose them then, if they were meant to be in your life, you'll find each other later on. But within the right circumstances where you don't have to compromise who you've been called to be to fit into that friendship. But at the end of the day, you have to choose. It's either you become the person God wants you to be, or you decide, I'm going to be who my friends need me to be. And then you just remain the same. Like at the end of the day, you'll have to sacrifice something. You sacrifice your future self, or you sacrifice your now. So it just depends. There's a sacrifice either way. It was lonely. You know, you don't have friends on this other side. You kind of like know people, but you're not really buddies. You get what I'm saying? Then my whole life, this is how I was living. So there are people who know how we do things. So now coming out of it and waiting on God, and actually this taught me something else about trusting God. Waiting for God to bring you other people who are like-minded. And then again, not everyone has grace for you as you try to change. Not everyone has grace for you.
No, I'm stuck with who you used to be.
Exactly. There are people even I meet nowadays go like, oh, when you learn Ani, they still know their former me, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's the whole point. I don't need to impress anyone with my transformation. It's a personal thing.
Yeah.
I know where I want to get to. So at the end of the day, if you meet me and you feel it makes you happy talking about the former self that I was, well, good for you. Misery loves company, but I refuse to be your company. So I'll be like, oh, that version, oh, dead, gone, buried, RIP'd, we have moved on, you need to catch up.
Yes.
And I say it not from a place of pride, I say it from a place of, you need to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not who I am anymore.
Absolutely.
You know? So
Yeah.
also understanding some people will try to draw you back into who you were, because that makes them comfortable. You being that person, they get something from it. They can manipulate you, they can use you, they can control you, they can think for you, they can do whatever they want to do because they already know your mindset is in a particular way. That's why you need to grow your mind and have and just fortify your mind in a way that you can step away from situations, from people, from things, from spaces, and not look back and not feel like you're missing out on anything. And trust, like, as you're forging ahead, you're going to meet the right people at the right time with the right intentions.
That is so true. That is so true. When we look at probably some of the things that, or the journey that you've walked right now, Coach, there's so many things that have happened. And you are a voice before the transformation. You are a voice. People looked up to you. We'd go to places, people were like, oh my God, Coach Tracy, I love you. You're the reason I watch TV. You saw me through COVID and all of that. And now you're still doing the same thing. Do you feel that the place you were given before was setting you up for this?
Oh, yes. I think what I can say is God does not want any of us to have to go through the gutters and the pits to get to where he wants to take us. But you see, he loves us too much, and in his love, he's given us the free will to choose how we get to go. But then again, at every given turn, every pit is going to give you a way out.
Yeah.
But then again, he's never going to force you to go that direction.
Yeah.
But he'll always make sure there's a way out for you. It doesn't matter what situation you're in, but you have to get to a place where you're able to find God in that situation for him to get you out of it. So God does not intend for us to learn from our mistakes, but we get to learn from our mistakes because we are exercising the free will we have been given.
Yeah.
We choose everything that we do. God will not make you do evil things. You choose to do it with the free will he's given you because he loves you unconditionally. And if anyone says they love you, yet they dictate how you live your life, how you choose and how you do things, then it is not love.
It is not.
It's tyranny, right? That person is a dictator. But then again, we need to always remember this. As much as we've been given the free will to choose, at the end of the day, there's going to be consequences. And this is because God, being the God that loves us, he still is a just God.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's just, it means he's still controlling his power. He can decide to whoop all of us who are sinners, and clearly none of us is, is a saint.
Yeah.
So he can decide to take us out. But he's giving us time to figure out and find our way to him.
Yeah.
But in the end, in his love, unconditional love, the fact that he loves us unconditionally, he remains to be just. He cannot separate justice from his unconditional love. So in the end, he's going to become now the just God, who will stand and judge everyone as per what we chose to do with the free will he gave us. And we cannot blame him for, God, why don't you take me with you? We cannot do that. Because he told you, you can choose to spend the afterlife with me. But then again, I love you too much to force you to spend it with me. Make a choice. So that is where people say I'm radical. I'm not radical. I just read some truth in the Bible, and I started reflecting and introspecting and realized, honestly, this thing is free will given. I don't have to do this. I don't have to transform. I can still continue doing my own thing. It's a matter of free will. But then, do I really care about where I'm going after this life? So for me, the goal is eternity. That's how I think about life nowadays. Everything I get to do, where I put my energy, where I spend my time, the people who are around me, what drives me. It's just to see people getting right with God. Because in the end, we will be glad we got right with God,
Absolutely. You talk about growth. You're very passionate about young people. And I think every other weekend you're somewhere. talking to young people. But then looking at also the background of music and understanding the influence that it has over people right now, what would be your message towards that? And is that part of the reason why you're taking a break to be like, I need to know if I'm going to put my talent back into this, if I'm going to put my voice back into music, then what it's going to look like?
I'll say this, in any season you're in, always be open-minded when it comes to the things of God. You might start out, you know, in a particular way, but then God might flip the script and change everything and send you down a very different path. So as for me, I'm in that direction of, I think God is flipping this thing and is going to use, I started out as a musician, not necessarily, it doesn't mean that I'm going to always be a musician. There might be a change and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the will of God. I have to make peace with it. Because you see, if I decide to get back into the music scene and God is not backing me, then at the end of the day, I'll be doing it with my own might and strength. And hence, I mean, have to start doing some funny things which other artists are doing. So when it comes to music, one thing I came to realize is this. You know, it's so interesting. There's there's a song that is trending right now, No Turning Back, right? And they've done a version, it's being played in clubs, and you know, everyone is talking about it. No, it's not, because no, it's Afro gospel. They've changed it now to a beat yenye Gen Z wanna relate. And I was listening to that song and I was like, this is so good, because now, okay, Gen Z, that's the language they're speaking. But then let us not forget that dancing and hype doesn't get us close to God. That's just part of what we get to do in terms of when we are praising, we are celebrating God. But that's not a relationship with God, because you're dancing to a tune that is about God. It doesn't necessarily mean you have a relationship. So I tell young people, you can listen to all the music you want to listen to, be inspired, be encouraged by the music, but do not believe that that is a relationship with God. It's part of it, but it's not your guaranteed relationship with God. Just because you're listening to. So music is very powerful. And rhythms, they make us do things, you know. And I always give this example. When we were doing music, you know, we go to clubs and we are performing. There's just a particular spirit that is operating. There's a song that you hear all of a sudden, everyone is...
Bend over.
Yeah, everyone has got that song that you hear. I started looking, and that's why I talk about myself, because I don't want anyone to feel like I'm coming for them. But personally, there are songs I could hear all of a sudden, I was grinding on a guy, you know? When I used to go to perform, I'd never perform on a sober mind because my songs had to be ratchet, you know, on the stage. So I had to take shots, make sure I'm a bit high, so that I'm not in my right mind to think about what I'm doing. So I've kissed guys I don't even know. Like Mafa, yeah, I'm telling you, usherati na mimi tulikuwa hivi, but thank you, Jesus. You get what I'm saying? And I'm saying this because people need to understand, just because you've been doing this thing and you've been comfortable in it, and people know you for it, you don't need to stay there. You can choose different. And if anyone is trying to drag you back into that space, you need to tell them, if that's what you see, well and good, I they move. I go. You need to realize that. Because people have tried to take me back to the version that I was, because they're not willing to accept who I've become. Because then again, when people try to do that, is because they're not willing to do the journey and to walk the walk. It's not easy. It's not easy. I'm still learning things. I'm still learning things. And I loved what, you know, Benjamin, you're talking about getting to a place where, you know, you're able, you see, like the road rage. I used to have so impatient. And sometimes I have to talk myself out of it. Even at this stage, people say, hey, you're a powerful woman of God. I'm like, it's not about being a powerful. I still lack patience, you get? And sometimes I have to talk to myself and tell myself, Kush Tracy, you are a patient woman. You are a sane woman. You know, you are a sober woman. You know, where I'm saying drinks around and I'm around, you know, it's very interesting. So people think it's like you wake up and voila. Let me tell you, this is like me 5 years in, right? And I got sober like 2.5 years ago. So meaning I was still trying to get it right with God, but I was still struggling and fighting addiction. It was not easy. And I used to go and park outside of wine houses and liquor stores. And I'll stay like 1 hour. Nafungua mlango wa gari nataka kwenda kununua pombe, lakini Roho Mtakatifu ananiambia you're stronger, wacha nafunga. Naingia wanda natafuta mtu ani encourage, and I'm outside the liquor store, and these are the things people don't get to see. But that is part of the walk. There are things, you'll be going to places where you shouldn't be going, and when you get there, you'll hear that prompt of, you are bigger than this, you don't need to do this, you don't need to sleep with this person, you don't need to sleep to be here, you don't need to use this kishash, you know. You want to do it, and that moment you get, that's the conviction. Something is telling you, you're better than this. You can come out of this. But most of the time, we don't want to believe we can, but we have to start believing there is better. There's a better version of ourselves.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be a struggle. People, you won't wake up at Yandit Swala. I'm still figuring out some things, by the way. So don't be deceived. I'm still figuring, there are things God is still teaching me, and he's like, baby girl, apa bado. Anani, chapa kama mtoto. Anani, apa bado jashika. Apo melalia masikio. This one, you missed it. You need to relearn it again. Even in terms of faith, how I used to do ministry when I started, it's so different from how I do it right now. because there are parts of me that were not healed then. So right now, God has healed some parts of me. So I have more compassion when I'm talking to people. I have more grace towards situations. I'm not angry. Because I used to be angry. So I used to be like, wewe utafanyikiwa nilikuwa hivyo. Condemnation. You get, because it came from a place that is not healed. So for me, my healing journey has been the best decision I ever made. To take that walk and to just do the work that needed to be done.
Great, you know. And I will poke more on that, but Zulu, I want to rope you in before we go on a break, having listened to all of that and knowing, tumetoka sisi wote you know.
You know, Kush is very faith-based. And her reference is to God a lot and her spirituality. And I'm glad that she has mentioned healing. And people of faith don't want to hear about healing because if they admit they are sick, they're making God look bad. The same Bible they are reading, Jeremiah 8, says, are there no herbs in Gilead? Are there no physicians there? Why is then the wound of the daughter of my people not healed? And it goes there to pronounce a very condemning verse, which you don't read because it's not comforting. It says that the harvest is past, the summer is ended, and we are not saved. Seasons are going and you're still the same. And you're still there just conversing. I'm glad that she's using her faith and still moving forward. Let me come to psychology and say, I hope in your healing journey you have therapy, because sometimes when we just sit in that space of affirmations and pronouncing who you shall be, you can pronounce them until positive thinking can become paralyzing. Because then you don't admit what is paining right now, isn't it?
That's true.
Sometimes I want you to just walk into therapy, normalize, not waiting until you are collapsing, until you are sent home by your company saying you are too toxic, go get therapy, come with a letter. You know, some of us wait until we are chased out. Just the very fact that you don't feel okay, the very fact that you keep repeating the same patterns, and what we are saying with Mikali, if you line up your exes, you can see the name of your pathology. You know, you keep dating the same person, different people. It feels the same. Like it felt last time. And it leaves you feeling the same. You can just watch the patterns of the people you're crushing on. You can just watch the pattern of how your money doesn't, you know, some people are paid, others, the money passes. It doesn't land really.
It passes through their hands.
It flies by. It flies by. If you watch how you are ever broke, although you're working so hard. If you watch how you are a beast of burden, but you're never loaded. You use your money to buy affection. You lend everybody money. You have a list. My girl had a list of people, let me 2K, 3K, so she had a list of people who are waiting every month for loans. And the money comes, goes. That was a symptom that she's so much of a people pleaser, attending to other people, and so low on self-love. The language of self-love, and it's rare to find a woman who admits that she was not living a straight life. Women usually cover it up. So the other girls don't have any example of what she's using her pain as a purpose. And she has sacrificed. It's a generosity to do uncomfortable things for the benefit of others. To show girls that you can be this smart, this talented, this eloquent, just you know, Kush has many things the girls want.
Absolutely.
She's just articulate. She can be savvy, modern. She can talk the language of the modernity, upmarket. She can fit everywhere. And yet she has, later on, many people start with the faith, but they disappear later in life. For her, she started the other way and coming back to herself. Psychologically, let me repeat the concept of core belief. What you believe your life to be about. She said you will eventually live out your beliefs. What you believe to be you, who you are, will become your, you know, the core processor in your computer. That's your core processor. That's what you're going to make your life of. Ask yourself, what is that you're living for? She's saying, eventually after I lived, after many things, she didn't use the psychological term of trauma, disturbance, lack of identity, loss of esteem, but she hinted at all of them. Many of us have those things. Without those things, what were you? What would you have been otherwise? She's saying, I'm not going to singing until I confirm that it's really part of what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm doing this. And as she's speaking, you can hear she's a teacher. She's teaching us what she has done. And she's using herself as a teaching example. Mikali, this is the best place to turn your life around 180 degrees and come back to who you are. If coming home, you realize you're not a lawyer, you're a chicken, you want to keep chicken, go do it. If you come back, you realize you're not a surgeon, you're a beekeeper. You know, some of the things that you really love are ridiculous in the eyes of society. One guy in Makueni said this after he retired that he found himself because now he did not have a job. And he said, let me grow pixies. Then he made in 1 year all the money he had made all his working life. Growing pixies. And camera people are coming, the world is wondering, how are you doing this? He said, I'm not struggling, just feels natural. How do you manage this? Oh my God, this is so... Then he's like, okay, so you're saying it's hard, What else? I enjoy so much growing these things.
Yeah.
He said, these plants are like part of me. They give me therapy.
Yeah.
So he's walking around, spraying, checking how they are doing, adding, expanding the farm. It's just who he is. This man found himself at 67. I hope you don't wait until 67.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because many of us are tied by the permanent and pensionable terms. We have a good job that we can't afford to disturb.
Yep.
And then it's after you retire at 72, you grow chicken, you grow something, and then it flourishes, just blows up. And you're wondering, I should have been doing this. What? And then you don't have energy. One mzee was driving a bicycle with a crate behind here, and he was 74. And I was asked by one of the grandchildren age mates, Babu, what are you doing? I'm trying to start chicken farm. You know, I want to start the biggest chicken farm. Babu, you don't have energy. It's too late in the day. Have you applied your Kaluma on the day? It was so late in the day. We are not discouraging people from self-discovery. We're saying, try it early and give yourself the permission, like she's doing.
Yes.
Yes.
And that leads us to the question of the day today. Are you who you really are or who the world wants you to be? Are you who you really are or who the world wants you to be? That's our question of the day. NTV Kenya is the social media handle to look out for on all our social media platforms. Take some time, think about it even before you jot it down. This atakama utatujibu, jiulize ndani kwa ndani. We're taking a very short commercial break. When we come back, we'll open up the floor for the audience to ask their questions. Don't go too far. Welcome back to the Elevate Show, and we are open for questions. We're going to start with you.
Thank you so much, Amikali, for this opportunity. My question, first and foremost, Coach Tracy, I'd like to compliment you. You are 1 in a million.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
You're 1 in a million. Honestly, you're so eloquent, and also
Santi.
you don't let people deceive who you are.
Absolutely.
So, and my question comes here now. How can you advise someone who is battling with self-doubt to not comply with whatever other people are saying, but to believe in themselves? Is there any criteria someone can use? Is there any way, a formula that you have that you can advise us?
I'll say it's important. You know, one of my therapists, therapy is very important, and I've done a lot of therapy and counseling. Because you see that there's a place where you get to where you'll need people to guide you and to show you how to do it. And for me, that was therapy. So I do believe in therapy. As much as we are faith-based, we love Jesus, we still have to ask men to help us, because he's going to use the same men to help you navigate the walk, right?
That's true.
But I'll say this, when it comes to self-doubt, there are times I ask God, I don't feel qualified to do what you've called me to do. Right? But I do remember he says his grace is sufficient. In my weakness, he becomes my strength. But then again, I still question whether I'm going to do it the way I see it. Because you see, we are perfectionists. That's the problem. You want it to become perfect. So you're doubting you can do it from that perspective of, this is what I see I want, but I'm not sure whether I'm able to achieve it, right? So you start questioning whether you are capable of doing it. But I'll say this. Sometimes you just have to do it afraid. You have to do it without caring. You're like, you know what, if I fail, let me fail flat on my face, but I'll still get back up, and that is one way to know how not to do it. Then I'll try again. So sometimes when it comes to doubt, you might find it might take time for you to be able to navigate and come out on the other side, but I'll tell you this, regardless of how you feel, do it afraid. Fail well. Now you know what not to do. Do it again until you find the way. Because sometimes you have to face the fear until the fear now runs away from you. Oof. That's what I can say.
Okay.
You just have to keep on doing it. Keep on until the fear will be like, now this person does not fear me. Fear, go away. The fear goes. Yeah, you have to trick your mind into it.
Okay.
You might never be ready. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Answered? Great. Have another question there?
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
First of all, thank you, Benjamin, Tracy, and Mikali for this opportunity. I have two questions. One for Benjamin. When we were in high school, we were having these guys who were the CU chairs, the praise and worship team. But again, when we get out, it turns out that they are not the same people we used to see. So when the question is the discovering, is it now that they're discovering themselves at this moment, or from what they were doing previously, or is it a stage in life? And my question to Tracy is, it is alleged that the past of a lady predetermines the future in terms of relationship and marriage. And these church girls, we are being warned that it's a no.
Yo.
So for you, does it apply to you, or it is just it's just okay with you? Thank you.
I think 2 reasons why people change later in life. When people are in high school, they are trying really to make it in life, to pass in exams. So they use God to pass exams. And after they are done, God helps them, they discard him. It's not you alone who is being used by people. Even God has the same problem. It's being used by people and being discarded. The second reason is sometimes our faith when we are young is an extrapolation of our parents' lifestyle.
That's true.
We do what is expected at home. As soon as we are away from parents, we look for ourselves and we settle in other places. So what I would say, this confirms what we are saying. Do not date a student. They are not themselves. Either they are afraid of their future and they are using faith to secure themselves, or they are a projection of where they grew up from. Wait until people have some money and have some freedom. How they dress when they don't have to be, there's nobody watching. How they spend their money, where they go for weekend, how they relax. That's who they are. That's who you marry now. That's who you date. Don't go to college, go to high school. Don't call them sweetheart or anything. They don't have a name. They even wear uniforms look like donkeys. They look the same. They have no identity. They're being made to look the same because they don't know who they are. But out here, we wear the uniform of who we are, our style, our personality, our capability.
That's true.
Your confirmation that when people are young, they tend to be this way, but later in life, they go this way. Another warning with men, Kush will also mention there. My mentor told me to be careful when you try to marry from the pulpit.
Okay.
People use the pulpit for performance, not faith. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you who were in the same Christian union and you are not that vibrant, you tend to be more steady throughout life.
Yeah.
Than the one who was bringing down goosebumps. And they take the performance out there. They just become a performer. They don't have a personality. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the stage in front there. I'm just saying, he was saying, don't be carried away by the show. Read the real person on a random Wednesday afternoon.
Yep.
Meet them when there's no show to do, when there's no microphone to hold. How they lie, how they keep their word, how compassionate they are, how consistent they are, how they handle money, how they keep their promise, how they handle those who are weak, how they say sorry, how they apologize, how they take accountability. That's the real person, all right? So stop reading character in CU and in church. After you hear a lot of amens on Sunday, receive them with a pinch of salt. And then let's meet on a random Thursday morning when salary is delayed, when rent is due, when there's no money, when there's a seducer knocking the door, when somebody's, can this woman reverse the money of her sponsor? A man wants to, can she return the money when she's needy? That's the real question of faith, bro. It's not the verses she can recite.
Yeah.
Let your experience teach you to read people in real life, not in a faith balloon. Yes.
That is so true. I'll just add to what you've said. From experience, there's a time I was very naive and I thought, as long as they're called, a pastor or a man of God, they are from God. Then I came to realize they are men of God and they are just men, from God. And that's two different things.
That's true.
Anyone can claim to be a man of God, a woman of God. And that's why I even tell people, even when I'm doing ministry, I tell them, take whatever I say with a pinch of salt, make sure you go back to the Bible and confirm what I'm saying, whether it's what God is saying. Because sometimes we might put our opinions and our own, the things, our desires in the midst of what God is saying. You get what I'm saying? So you cannot trust anyone who's on the pulpit. Come on, we already know. The enemy knows everything. He knows the Bible. So he's also in the churches. There are men of God, women of God who are using witchcraft in the churches. So you find the congregation is actually under a spell, but they don't know. These are stories which are being told on documentaries on YouTube, if you go to look for them. And someone tells you, I used to be a pastor, I used to go to the witch doctor, I used to be given things, come and put them in the church. And when people come there, they'll keep on giving their money, but they'll never rise beyond where they are. But then again, they're so deceived that they think the more they give, that's how they will get. So there's a lot of deception in the church and the Christian faith. So you cannot say the church is not... God is literally, Jesus is the church, yes, but don't trust everything that is being called the church, because even the devil is in the churches and on the pulpit. So just for you to be careful. The other thing is some women, yes, do go to church for marriage. That's their whole agenda. I'm trying to find someone who can marry me in church because I think they'll be nice. And also we have men in the world who go to church to look for a wife. Because one, wanawake wa dunia, they are quite crazy, right? Na unataka mke mnyenyekevu ana submit. Unaenda kumtafuta wapi? Pale kwa kanisa. Si unaona? So unapata the people in the world are trying to find what they know is right in church, and that should tell you something about the world we're living in, right? So at the end of the day, I'll say this. It's better to be in God's will when it comes to marriage. Sometimes you might meet someone, they might not look as spiritual, they're not speaking in tongues, they're not shouting, they're not, they're theatric when it comes to the things of faith, but then that person is solid with God. You get what I'm saying? Because people are performing out here, they're performing Christians and they're so good at it. And that's why we need discernment as even believers. We need discernment. And when you talk about my past being, affecting, determining my future, I'm like, come on, why would I want a man who thinks my past is relevant when it comes to the future God has for me? Why would I want such a man? One, we are not of the same, we are not cut from the same cloth.
Nope.
You're not a child of God, because if you don't understand what Christ came to do, Christ came for sinners. Those who make mistakes, those who are broken in all ways, he came to save them. So if you look at me and you say, but your past disqualifies you from getting married to a good man, when I'm like, clearly, I think we have a different opinion when it comes to men of God. It's very different. Because a true man of God knows what grace is. A true man of God understands that my sin and his sin, none of us are better sinners. We are all sinners in need of grace and mercy of God. So at the end of the day, you've seen prostitutes getting married and they share their testimonies. You've seen porn stars getting married and they share their testimonies. And some of these things I look at and I come to realize, there are things we've done, but there are people who have done things, And I'm like, if the mercy of God is enough for them, then the mercy of God is enough for me. So at the end of the day, if you still judge me based on my history, you are not even supposed to be in my future in any shape or form. You're not. So at the end of the day, I think as people, as you're trying to become who God created you to be, walk in boldness. Don't be ashamed of your past. Own it, because when you own it, you control it. But if you give it to people and you let people talk about it, you let people determine how you feel, how you move, how you do things, now you're ashamed. Don't give anyone that power. That's why I talk about my ulikuwa msherati. Nilikuwa, wacha nikwambie venye Yesu alinitoa huko. I'm so quick. You get what I'm saying? I'm so quick. So don't let your past hinder what God wants to do in your future. Absolutely. Don't let it. And if anyone is calling you out of it, they are not supposed to be married to you. Walk away from it. But your past, it's a favor I'm doing you. Abi, do that favor. Go, bye. And you walk away. Walk away.
Oh my goodness.
Just a comment on what she's saying.
Yes.
My brother, let me encourage you to always marry people whose past you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
God gave you a choice, so make sure you exercise it.
Yes.
This is not judgmental. This is personal. When you go to a boutique, you check clothes that fit you. You leave the rest there. You're not being judgmental, you're being selective.
Yes.
You are aware of your size and you wear what you want.
Yeah.
All right? So I was discussing tattoos sometime and you said, don't condemn a person because of the tattoos. Marry people who have tattoos like you, or marry those who don't have tattoos like you.
Yeah.
Tattoo is just a symbolic thing to say.
Yeah.
That's how they view beauty. Most artistic people will always have either studs or something. Artistic people have that nature to them. They view their bodies as a dynamic thing. They want to keep decorating. No. So you can't say Illuminati, you're going to hell. Some guys have dreads and you think Rastafari. All of them are smoky, bangy. And then the Rastafari guy realizes one of the clean-hearted guys we've ever met.
Yes.
It's just his style.
Yeah.
Just how he views life. So please learn to find your tribe. And then say to you, I'm a country boy by bone, blood, and marrow. Me, I'm country. I had to marry a country girl because we have our biases and we enjoy them. All right?
Yeah.
We connect with our biases. Our way of having fun is to leave the city and go to the villages. Can you imagine? That's fun. Kush wonders, this is dusty. Where are we going?
Where's the ocean?
I was like, where's the ocean? Where's the breeze?
Where's the breeze?
The country boy can go to the farm.
Yeah.
Eating cassava, orange from the tree.
Yes.
Oh, what a weekend that was. Oh my. Now we are happy because we went to the country. So get a person who you share flavors and culture. Also to remind you that Christians are generally more judgmental than God.
That's true, man.
All right?
Yeah.
God has more children than you know. Sometimes don't say, that church there's no Christian there. That church, God will surprise Otherwise, you go to heaven, the people you thought you would expect, you don't find them.
Yeah.
The ones you did not expect, you find them. For you, work out your own faith with fear and trembling. Psychologically, when a person has started a new life and new beliefs, they tend to be a new person. So instead of judging those people who are vocal about their past, you should actually be more comfortable. This person is talking about their past, and the one who's hiding it.
Yes.
All right? You're not saying everybody has a dirty past. We're just saying the person who has endorsed who they are, there's a more higher chances they are no longer that person.
Yeah.
Than the person is acting like they have never had anything, all right? Meaning it is still going on, all right?
Yeah.
It's not easy for coach to talk like this and go practice that. Somebody will pick at you, I saw you, why are you
Well,
still
no,
doing it?
yes.
You know? But the person is acting like holier than thou could still be there, all right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, sometimes a person who tells you clearly gives you a better chance to make better decisions. Always pick the people you're comfortable with, and because love is petty, just like food, it's petty. Find your flavor in that pettiness. Don't need to explain why you like rice beef, and me like chicken modokoi, and then I'm trying to justify. But it's a true story, but don't tell people. Should I make a thesis why I like modokoi? It's just my taste. Go for your modokoi, bro, all right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and that's your parting
Yes,
shot.
it is.
Kush Tracy, your parting shot as well.
I'll just say this, all of us, we have potential to become better and to do better.
Yeah.
Just believe that you can and walk the walk, do the work that needs to be done. If you have to go and seek a therapist or counseling, if yours is still faith-based, because I do understand not if everyone who's watching this show is a born-again believer.
Yeah.
So whatever that can help you get on the other side, please pursue it. But my prayer is that you'll get to pursue Jesus clearly.
Yay.
That's the most important thing. But believe that you can. No one is too far lost, too far gone, or too lost.
Yeah.
No one cannot be reclaimed. God can reclaim anyone. So just believe it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And my parting shot is do better, be better, feel better. And on that note, we say kwaheri, asante sana Kush Tracy. Thank you so much, Zulu, my amazing audience as well. And you watching us from home, asante sana for joining us every single Wednesday at 9:30. Until next time, from us to you, kwaheri.